Well, hello everybody. Special thanks to Rosella Gargano, Kim Hildebrand, and the Executive Award Organization. It's a privilege to really be part of this group. I'm sorry I can't be with you in Lugano tonight, and I hope to see many of you in Zurich, hopefully next year. When I was told who was going to be in the room, I could not really think otherwise than that this is an incredible group of people from Lucano, the Canton, the Ticino, and across Switzerland, all committed to building more sustainable leaders. I've often said that we are short of leaders and trees. I'm also impressed to see how this program has grown rapidly since you started it in 2018, with a simple but powerful purpose to recognize business leaders making a positive impact on the planet. Now more than ever, we need these moral, courageous leaders. And it's not easy to be a leader right now. The world faces multiple challenges. Some would call it a perma-crisis, meaning an extended period of instability and insecurity. Others are talking about a polycrisis, where a number of depressing factors are combined to create one alarming super situation. Many struggle to keep companies profitable, employees motivated, and business models relevant. COVID, I believe, made us realize that our linear extractive economic models are simply not sustainable anymore. Many now understand that you can't have healthy people on an unhealthy planet, nor can you have infinite growth on a finite planet. It's more important than ever that we strive for a more inclusive, more equitable, and more sustainable world for all. For that, we need to address the challenges, especially of climate change, biodiversity destruction, and yes, inequality. We're all here today because we know that business has a major role to play. We cannot achieve it without. They definitely have to step up. And yes, there will undoubtedly be transaction cost. Nothing is going to be cheap with a transformation of this magnitude, but it's worth it. The International Energy Agency estimates that we need to spend about $3.5 to $4 trillion a year on average above the business as usual scenario. But I frankly believe that the benefits are going to be even bigger. In fact, a recent study of Deloitte showed that not doing anything will incur a cost by 2070 of over $178 trillion. Doing all we can to stay within about the 1.5 degree warming would actually give us a benefit of $43 trillion. We are notoriously bad in cost estimating, especially when we have exponential problems like we have in climate change. But we're now at the point, in my opinion, where the cost of inaction is significantly higher than the cost of action. And that's why this is such an attractive business proposition. Now, many people understand the why, but frankly, they struggle with the how. And that's why we wrote the book Net Positive, How Courageous Companies Thrive by Giving More Than They Take. The Net Positive book is there to help us accelerate with this conversion. Above all, it requires a change of mindset. It's practical, and that's what many people need right now. And it answers two main questions. How can we profit from solving the world's problems, not creating the world's problems? And yes, is the world better off because my company is in it? Yes or no? The book's premise is simple. It's just not good enough anymore to be less bad. Most people are in the CSR, or corporate sustainable reporting mode, if you want to, corporate sustainable responsibility, and dealing with less plastics in the oceans, less carbon emissions, less deforestation. But frankly, it's about being less bad. World Overshoot Day this year is August 2nd, which is the day that we use up more resources than the world can replenish. I would argue that every day after, we're actually stealing from future generations. So less bad is not good enough anymore when you've overshot these planetary boundaries by this extent. Therefore, we need to think regenerative, restorative, reparative. And that, frankly, is what we call net positive. A net positive company has many characteristics. It first and foremost takes responsibility of its total impact in the world, intended or not, well beyond scope 1 and 2, if I may say. A net positive company also operates for the longer term for all of its stakeholders. It sees shareholder return as a result of what they do, not as a myopic objective. And yes, a net positive company actively works with others to drive the more transformative changes. So what does adopting a just and what you might call regenerative mindset actually mean? Well, it runs much deeper than how business minimizes the environmental impacts or prevents things like human rights abuses. A just and regenerative mindset gets to the heart of how we actually recognize our interdependence with other people, with other living beings, with our ecosystems, but ultimately how we enable all living beings to not simply survive, but frankly to thrive together. Adopting a just and generative approach means above all embracing the powers of nature to renew and regenerate, understanding that humans are a fundamental part of nature and respecting everyone's universal rights and potential to thrive. This challenges us, I believe, to go well beyond our current extractive models we talked about, to recognize a fundamental quality of all living beings and ecosystems, the ability to regenerate, replenish, and create the conditions for more life. Yes, it does go beyond the false division between environmental and social. A thriving planet can be one that contains widespread human suffering or stifles human potential. And a thriving human population, if you want to, can't exist on a dying planet either. Shifting to a just and regenerative mindset would actually mark a major transformation in both the way we approach sustainability and the role of business in society. It presents a different way of understanding the world around us and will be key, I believe, to unlocking the many other shifts needed to achieve the major transformation. In the face of our depleted social and ecological systems, it is also the only route, I believe, to long-term inclusive prosperity and yet a source of great hope.